Picture the Homeless. I'm a member of Picture the Homeless. Our organization is a grassroots organization made up of homeless and formerly homeless individuals to fight injustice across the board. But we actually basically work on homeless issues and low-income housing. I'm with the Rent Subsidies Committee. I was formerly homeless myself. I was in a shelter 2 years ago for 22 months with 3 daughters. At that time, they had the HSP program, which I didn't qualify for, so there were no programs for me. People like myself who were disabled, a disabled nurse, veterans, people on Social Security. So I was actually stuck. I started advocating for myself because I wasn't getting any help from the caseworkers and the administrators there. I started going to the advocacy meetings at DHS. I met Picture the Homeless there, and I went to meetings that they hold every week to see what they were all about. And I found that they showed me how to navigate the system, which is very complicated. And through Picture the Homeless, I finally did get out of the shelter because I sat with them on an advisory board with Commissioner Hess, which we made a lot of recommendations. In the beginning, he wasn't listening to us, and he formed this advisory board in order to, he says, to hear what the problems of the homeless in the shelters are. But he wasn't really listening to us. I feel it was just all smoke and mirrors. We kept making demands, criticizing him, engaging with him and DHS officials there until 6 months later, the HSP program was eliminated and the Advantage program was implemented. The Advantage program is just HSP in disguise because the only difference with the new program is 3 of the things that we had asked for, which we have been asked for many things. We did get 3 things. One is the inspection process is now like the Section 8 inspection process, which now people won't get those substandard apartments they were getting before. We asked for an increase on the voucher, which they only increased it about $100, and they're still under market rate, so it's still hard for people to get out of the shelter. And they say they want people to get out of the shelter and go back into the community and become self-sufficient. Well, that's not true. When you do get these vouchers, just like with HSP, this Advantage program voucher, same thing, your rent doesn't get paid, they give you no explanation, they give you no apology, and that happened to me this year. The first year I was on Advantage, I was supposed to be on a Children's Advantage just for 1 year. I was the first person in New York City to receive the Children's Advantage program. And I feel that they gave it to me only because I'm with Picture the Homeless and they want to prove to us that this program works. But we kept telling them this is not going to work either. And how they said it was going to work has not worked so far. And I'm a product of all of this because they offered it to me a second year because the first year, along with the Children's Advantage, I was supposed to get an interview with Section 8, which I did. They asked for additional documents. When I went to Fordham Road, which is the office that I had to have my interview at and bring back my documents, they don't let you go inside. They just put your documents in a box and the security guard takes it upstairs. I got a letter some months later stating that they didn't receive any documents from me, and there was no way I could really contest that. And then there was a big shakeup at that same Section 8 office where it was in the news that they were selling people's vouchers from $500 to $5,000. So it was an investigation. A lot of people went to jail. So, I mean, you know, it makes me wonder, was my voucher one of the vouchers? They said my paperwork was lost. So then I was offered Children's Advantage for another year. Now, my Children's Advantage just expired May 31st. My lease just expired June 30th. And they hadn't paid my rent since March of this year until June of this year. It took a month and a half of phone calls and emails from me and my organization in order to get this rectified. Finally it has been, but I'm now just in limbo because nobody's telling me anything, and me and some representatives from Picture the Homeless are going down to DHS to have a meeting about this because I need an extension. I need to know what I have to do because my landlord has been threatening eviction, and so it's how HSP works. It's just a revolving door. That's why I say it's actually, Advantage is HSP in disguise. It's the same thing. You think you're getting on your feet, you get out of the shelter, you get an apartment, and you just never know what's going to happen next with these people. I'm at risk, I'm in jeopardy right now, and God willing, I won't be going back to the shelter.
A lot of folks are ending up in housing court because of these inadequate subsidies. A lot of the current subsidy, the Advantage program, as was its predecessor, the Housing Stability Plus, are built on faulty infrastructure. It's very limited how much you can work, so it's keeping people mired in poverty, and it's keeping people in eviction court. And once you go through housing court, you're stigmatized, and it makes it very difficult for people to find permanent housing. So they end up back in the shelters. However, the city is making it difficult for you to re-enter the shelter system. I think what we're fighting for is to get at the root causes of homelessness and for the city to start thinking differently on how it deals with homeless populations in the city. It is difficult, a situation for folks to get out of, but the city seems to enjoy keeping people in the cycle of poverty. They don't allow people to escape, and once you're caught in it, it's very difficult for folks to get out of it. I myself haven't gone through a bout of homelessness. I know the challenges. I had the wherewithal to get out, but many of these folks don't have the financial stability, and in many cases, they suffer from mental illness, from chemical addiction, from alcohol addictions, and that makes the problem that much more exacerbating.
The shelter, it was like we didn't get the most information from the shelters. We do outreach, and Sophie was, oh my God, amazing outreach person, okay? And we parked ourselves in front of the welfare office and talking to those people who had problems with, like Sophie, on the verge of being thrown out because they have been sanctioned for no reason of their own, okay, at the welfare center, and talking to us coming up and we having these questions on these surveys like, okay, do you have HSP? Have anyone told you about HSP? Which a lot of these was like, no, I got it on my own. Somebody in the shelter told me. Well, I mean, how much are you in the rears? Why are you in the rears? You know, and just talking to these people and just saying, I'm mad. I mean, like, I'm mad. And it's like us doing these surveys with them. It was like, okay, here's somebody. All these questions is what we going through. Here's somebody that really care, is concerned. But what you gonna do? Can you do something about it? You know, and that's so disheartening when you talk to these people and they see an organization like Picture the Homeless can sit concerned and care about their plight, but we can't do nothing about it. I mean, like, we not serviced. You know, so many times when I get ready to go back to work, I love Picture the Homeless, but I want to do some service. I want to help. I am so sick and tired of talking like this little rat in this wheel that goes round and round and round and round, and talking to the politicians to do something to help these people. You don't know, going out doing outreach and having them answer surveys and answer questions that we already know to put this together, that you cannot not make me believe that these politicians don't know what's going on. And they can put more on the agenda for poor people, not middle class people. You know, don't class the people. You know, put more on the table to help these people that we went and stood in the welfare office and we talked to, that got eviction, that's still trying to keep their apartment, to keep this lousy, stinking HSP and this badass work advantage program.
Mayor Bloomberg has said when Advantage program came out that people were leaving their apartments because the program was so wonderful and everybody heard about it, and so that's the reason why the numbers went up. Well, with our survey, one of the questions were, do you know about the new Advantage program? And most people had no idea what that was. So we just wanted to prove the things that he was saying was just total smoke and mirrors, you know, just total lie.
And time is up, not just for Mayor Bloomberg, I'm sorry. Time is up for poor people, because poor people don't know nothing about no recession. It's time up that we come out of recession. We've been in recession all our lives, okay? So all this recession stuff, I don't know. I just get $1 over lunch money, and sometimes don't even have that. So time is up for people to come out of recession, not just for Mayor Bloomberg to wake up.
I can tell you this, we are the only group that I know that deals with homelessness on a grassroots level, whereas we go to the source of the problem, and that's going into homes, that's going into the shelter system, that's going into the welfare centers. We don't always ask if we can go in, because if you ask, they're going to tell you no. into a lot of these agencies. So you have to be aggressive in ascertaining this information because the powers that be don't want you to know. So Picture the Homeless is known for going to the root of the problem and making a stink. That's what people have to do. You have to, at this point, come out of this thing where it's, if I open my mouth, I'm going to be in trouble. No, if you don't open your mouth, you're going to be homeless.